Welcome to Million Innovators. Introduction to Disruptive Change, Course 201. Why disruption change is necessary, what to do, and how to get started. That is the scope of this module. Target audience for this course is senior and upper middle management who are responsible and accountable for planning, executing, assessing the change program's results. Question really is, in this course we will discuss what problem are we trying to solve, where to start, and what can we do as a pre-planned work before formal planning process can begin. Goal of this module is let's truly understand what our CEOs are asking. And once we understand what they're asking, then we can decide how do we actually plan this work so we can execute on the ask. And the objective here is to really understand the question and understand, do we as a senior management team have the resolve to pursue that question? Aspiration is one thing, but the ability to lead is different. What goal of this module is to really understand, do we have the ability to lead to achieve the aspirations? There's no point of getting started if you can't finish the job. Disruptive change process was designed to tackle the questions like this. I recently had a conversation with an insurance executive whose point was 4 smaller insurance companies merged together became one. Now we have 4 of everything. None of the systems, processes, skills are good enough to become one and not good enough to proceed with the changes that are necessary and the opportunities that are available to them. The board of directors understand the need for change, and CEO understand the need for change. The question for CEO is where to get started, considering the CEO may or may not necessarily have the experience to lead such a change. So it's a typical question that disruptive change practice or process was designed to tackle. Let's look at some other questions in non-economic environment. So question number 2, a non-economic question, something for social good. Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada produced one more report. The objective was, in order to redress the legacy of residential schools, advance the process of Canadian reconciliation. Truth and Reconciliation makes 94 calls to action. The unfortunate thing is, it's just one more of those reports. Based on a previous experience, nothing is going to happen, and nothing is going to change. In 10 years from now on, we will write another report with a different title, different content. Well, we're addressing the same issue. So if you're the sovereign, and it matters to you, where do you start? How do you get started? You're just one person, but you are the sovereign. That is another question the disruptive change process can help you tackle. Question number 3. I recently had the opportunity to visit a slum in India, Mumbai, where I saw a slum with a vibrant economy and a hope. If we don't do something, the politicians and bureaucrats convert this slum into what they call a community living, which will eventually and very quickly will become an undesirable ghetto. There's ways that we can prevent from slums from becoming ghettos. Where do we start? How do we do it? It's only one person. That's the question that you can tackle. Lastly, Dr. Atul Gawande makes a great point in his YouTube video. His point was simple. Advances in medicine have nothing but miracle, but the cost of care delivery makes it simply unaffordable for 7.3 billion people around the world. But if you can't afford these advances, then those advances might as well not existed. They ought to reach. So how do we tackle this problem? Where do we start? Can we develop a roadmap and manage, or let it organically happen? Or do we do both? So where do we start? Disruptive change methods will help you tackle this question. I'm an engineer and economist by training. Yeah, I understand these are complex problems, but they're man-made. They can be solved. But if we take the inspiration from St. Francis, who nearly 700 years ago pointed to a simple fact: we start by doing what is necessary, then do what is possible. Suddenly, we're doing the impossible. That is where we took the inspiration when we defined disruptive change process. Yes, of course, to implement any change, we can take a very classical approach. We go along, we implement, we face a valley of despair, and we come out of it. Or we can take a new approach. You don't have to abandon the current one, we'll augment it. Looking at the classical organizational change management approach, we can get the outcome that is highlighted by the blue lines. That's possible. It's doable. It's been done every day. There's nothing wrong with it. Or we can take a fundamentally different approach as highlighted by orange line. We can engage everybody and optimize what we currently own. And using best practices available in the marketplace, we can transform. And we can challenge our people to innovate and transform the value chain. So the methods are there. They're all viable. Disruptive change doesn't say that you have to do one or the other. You can choose. You can follow the classical method, or you can do the transformation. There's no right answer. It's just what you have, the need, and the resolve. So once you, the senior and upper middle management, understand the question that is being asked by your CEO, and you have an understanding the kind of disruption, kind of change you want to lead, next step is simple. We do an assessment of our current landscape. That is the topic for next course module. Welcome to Million Innovators.